can't hear one single Democrat commercial in the state of Nevada that talks about anything other than abortion, because that's really what we're worried about, right? Not crime, not the rising crime rate. By the way, I guess they got the Second Amendment under control because the last instance of crime and murder in this state have all been by knives for the last 3 months. So maybe we need some knife control. My thing is this: I do support Adam Laxalt, and I'm supporting Adam Laxalt for the same reason that the left would probably support Catherine Cortez Masto. One, his principles are the same principles as mine.
What are those principles?
And those principles are this: number one, we need less government. Okay. Number two, in Nevada, we've got Democrats that run amok. Our state have been ruined after this so-called pandemic. And as far as an election denier, Republicans got that idea actually from Democrats, because Democrats were the first people to complain and say elections were rigged. They didn't like hanging chads. They didn't accept Bush. They didn't accept Trump.
Yes, they did. Al Gore conceded. What are you talking about?
No. Hillary Clinton started out the minute she lost and said he was
she conceded within 24 hours. What are you talking about?
Conceding and spending the next 3 or 4 years saying that the president was illegitimate is not the same.
Mac,
it is the same thing as being an election denier.
Okay, Mac, hold on. First of all, saying someone is illegitimate is saying they're not qualified to be president. That is very different than saying they didn't win the election.
Okay, well, that. You got Hillary Clinton on record saying Donald Trump stole the election.
She conceded the next day.
Regardless
what are you talking about?
Not, she's on record saying that the election was stolen, that the election was rigged, and that the Republicans are trying to do it again.
Can you find me a Democrat running for office? Hold on. Can you find me a Democrat running for office right now that has said if they lose the election, they're going to contest it and they're going to call it fraud?
They don't have to say it because that's what they do.
Adam Laxalt is doing that. He said that on record. How can you support somebody like that?
Well, the Democrats have filed lawsuits in the past over elections.
Focus on Adam Laxalt.
Oh, no. Here, you want me to focus on the present without referencing the past.
You're backing Adam Laxalt. I'm talking to you about Adam Laxalt.
I'm definitely backing Adam Laxalt. But here's the thing. You want me to focus on the present, but you don't want to reference the past. And like I said,
what are you talking about?
The past is real simple. Look, you never had Republicans denying elections or saying someone was illegitimate. It came first from the Democrats. They started it. And yeah, this sounds like very childish.
Did they cause an insurrection? What are you talking about?
There was no such thing as an insurrection.
There was no such. January 6th wasn't an insurrection.
We're in January 6th now. Are you kidding me?
You just said there's no such thing as an insurrection. That's not true.
You started by saying, what about the insurrection? So I responded by saying there wasn't an insurrection.
Democrats caused that?
By the way, here's the deal. What we got right now is we got a guy that's sitting to my right, that's in studio right now.
I understand.
That is running for district attorney. That's Timothy Trevinger. I know Steve Wolfson, right?
Yes.
The problem I have is we need someone that has actually prosecuted a case, which Tim has, and we also need representatives that won't just represent one side of this state.
Mac, I voted for Tim. I know that.
Good.
Okay?
Right,
I voted for Tim.
So
I'm not asking you about Tim.
Okay,
that's not my
fine.
concern. Tim's not my concern.
So here's the deal.
My concern is you're supporting, and you have the right to, but you're supporting candidates that are election deniers.
A whole list of candidates.
Well, but hold on.
I'm supporting Adam Laxalt and Mark Robertson. I'm supporting April Becker.
Mark Robertson. Oh my God.
I'm supporting Sam Peters. I'm supporting my former opponent Stavros Anthony.
Okay.
I'm
go
supporting
one by one.
Segal Chata.
Oh my.
I'm supporting Jim Marchant. I'm supporting Michelle Fiore.
All right, stop right there.
I'm supporting Andy Matthews.
Segal Chata.
I'm supporting.
Hold on.
Yes.
Who was running against a black man?
Yeah, the Jew that saved Christmas. That's what she's known as.
Segal Chata.
Someone that opened our places of worship while the current governor shut it down and thought that it was better to have a liquor store open than a church.
Let's go through this.
That's why I'm supporting Segal Chata.
When an opponent says that they want, when Segal Chata says she wants her opponent hanging from a crane.
It's a phrase.
So you're okay with that?
And by the way,
you're okay with that language?
You know what? Are you kidding me? We've got Black Lives Matter and the left talking about killing cops and talking about
as a candidate saying they want to kill a cop.
She did not say
she said she wanted him hung from a crane.
She did not. She never said she wanted him hung from a crane.
I am asking you.
The statement was, and it's a
why can't you call it out for being wrong?
Here's the phrase.
You're okay with that phrase?
The phrase is you should be hanging from a crane. She didn't say she wanted to hang him from a crane, but it's a figure of speech.
So let me get this right.
And by the way, I still support her regardless, because we have people that make statements left and right all the time,
which doesn't excuse it.
I had someone pat me on my head last night like I was their boy.
Doesn't excuse that either.
And I was not happy with that. So here's the deal.
Mac, let me ask you.
I support Segal Chata.
Mac.
And depending on how people take the statement, if they take it in a negative, that's all great. But we got a lot of snowflakes out there, and snowflakes are ruining our state.
Okay, Mac, hang on a second.
And you're sounding like one of them, Brian.
No, I'm not. I'm very fair. Mac, let me ask you a question.
Mac,
go on. Let me ask you a question. Without going into a diatribe, with all due respect, Are you okay?
But we're good at that, Brian.
Well, I know, but I want to get
you
there's a lot of I want to get Tim into this conversation too, but I need you to answer the question. It's a very simple one.
No, well, if it's a simple question, if it's a simple question, you answer the simple question. Don't preface it with a statement to make me look.
Well, I want you. It's a yes or no.
Okay,
it's a yes or no
Let's
answer.
make the question simple.
Are you okay with candidates running for office talking about their opponents, saying they should be hanging from a crane? Are you okay with that? Yes or no?
You know what? I guess I am, since I'm supporting.
You're okay with that? Okay. Well, I find that you're too smart and you're too good of a man to answer. That's despicable. That's shameful that you would answer. You know that's wrong, and you shouldn't answer the question that way.
Listen.
Let me ask Tim. Tim, are you okay? Tim will give me an honest answer. I voted for Tim. Tim, are you okay with any candidate? Notice how I'm not prefacing it with a Republican or a Democrat, saying that their opponent should be hanging from a crane. You're looking to be the next DA. Are you okay with that kind of language?
I think it's unnecessary language. I think a lot of the political attacks on both sides are unnecessary, but I don't think it needs to be taken that far. And I know she's couched it as saying she was referring to Hamas and things in the Middle East. And I understand that she was using it in a metaphorical way. Do I think it needed to be taken to that level? Probably not.
Probably not?
It did not need to be taken to that level.
That was the answer that I was looking for.
But I don't have
Mac.
a problem that it is. You're not going to get that answer from me. I'll tell you why.
Of course I'm not.
I'll tell you why. Because I don't have to give a political answer.
That's not a political answer. It's a decent human being answer.
No, that's a future DA answer. I can give an answer like a real person that's not afraid to get down and dirty and say that.
So hang from a crane. You're okay with that language.
People say things.
Okay. Well,
people say things like curse words and everything else. I mean, look.
Saying a curse word and wanting your opponent to hang from a crane are two completely different things.
We've got things on the back of shirts and the back of pickup trucks and the back of cars that people wouldn't say in polite company. But First Amendment rights, you know what?
All right. We're going to take some calls. Mac Miller is okay with political figures saying they want their opponents hanging from a crane. We have that on the record. The number to call, 702-221-7283. Again, that number is 221-7283 if you want to be a part of the conversation. All right. Let's go to John. I believe John is first up here. John, how's it going? You're on with Mac Miller. Go right ahead.
Mac, what a clown you are, man.
Oh, I might.
You are the walking definition of Gish Gallop. Look it up on Wikipedia. Gish Gallop. That's all you got, pal. All you got is just talk fast and try to overwhelm Brian and throw as much crap against the wall. And what about ism and blah, blah, blah. What a clown, man. You are an absolute joke. I've never.
Hey, listen. You don't know what I love how you mention that I'm a clown. But what have you got? Give me something. Give me something that doesn't prove otherwise.
Okay, that's a fair question. Go ahead, John.
What kind of question is the dumbest question?
Well, let's talk about policy.
What do you want? My bank account? What do you want, Mac?
What do you support? I don't need your bank account. Who do you support and why? Do you
support reason and logic?
No. Who? Do you know what a who is? Do you know what a who is? Reason isn't a who.
So explain to me, John, why you agree with me that Adam Laxalt should not be in any office, because Mac Miller is a supporter of Adam Laxalt, Sigal Chattah, Jim Marchant, who are all election deniers, and I would say all three of them are embarrassing to this state. But go ahead, John.
Hey, Mac, is Joe Biden the duly elected president of the United States?
Let me ask you this: who do you support in
Come on,
Nevada?
answer the question, Mac.
Who do you support in this state? Do you support Catherine? Do you support Masto? Do you support? Who do you support? Come on,
Matt.
Let me ask you a question.
To be fair,
you called into the
answer his question.
You called into the store. You called into the show. You called into the show. You called into the show.
Yes, he does support the show.
You already heard me say I support.
You're a waste of time. Why do you give this guy any respect,
Brian?
Listen,
you're the one calling in. I'm on the show.
All right, but Mac. Okay, thank you for the call, John. Mac. I think that's a very fair question that he asked you. So please,
but here's the deal.
Will you agree that Joe Biden is a free and fair elected president? It's a pretty fair question.
Would I agree?
No.
Well, he is now, isn't he?
That's not what I asked you.
He's sitting in office.
Not what I asked you.
He's sitting in office.
We know that. That's not the question.
I believe there was a lot of fraud in that last election.
That's not what I asked you.
And therefore, because it wasn't investigated like it should have been investigated and things were hidden, I disagree with his presidency.
So you don't think he's a free and fair elected president?
But you know what? Look, they had the same issue with Trump, right? So there are people that didn't agree with Trump being in office. So,
Richie Vegas on my social media just said, "Does Max smoke a lot of pot?"
So is that because I'm black? What is that?
I don't know. He's saying you sound like you're high. I mean, I don't know. All right, so you're not willing to admit that Joe Biden is a free and fair elected. Tim, help me out here. He's not willing to admit that Joe Biden is a free and fair elected president. He has no problem with language of "I want my opponent hanging from a crane." Now I understand why you're supporting Laxalt, Segal Chad, and Jim Marchant, because they probably agree with you. They have no problem. They're not willing to admit that Joe Biden is a free and fair elected president. The thing I will say to that, there is no evidence to support that there was overwhelming evidence to overturn fraud, to overturn the outcome of the election.
Here's the thing: when it comes to elections, when you file lawsuits, by the time they're determined, it's hard pressed to find a judge in this land that will overturn an election, regardless of what evidence they find.
Okay, but here's the thing: I'm gonna.
So I mean, no, that's just it.
Okay.
So there's been many lawsuits filed for candidates or against candidates, and a lot of them won. A lot of them have been found, regardless of what it is. I mean, and after an election, no judge wants to overturn anything.
I met your beautiful wife. I met one of your daughters. You have a beautiful family. I think you appear to be a good husband and a good father.
Thank you very much.
It shocks me to hear you say on this show, I don't know if you're being honest with me, that you are okay with a. Hold on, let me just finish the question.
First Amendment, I'm okay with.
You're okay with a political.
Whatever they want to say, and unless she says I'm going to go out and hang someone, unless she says I'm.
You don't think that can incite violence when someone says I want my opponent hanging from a crane?
Those are weak people. Anytime, if someone...
How could you be okay with that?
Those are weak people. And those are the type of people...
Weak?
Weak, exactly. So if somebody else's words are going to get you to go jump off a bridge, then go do it. We don't need you
It's not
anymore.
about jumping off a bridge. It's wrong. Can't you just say it's wrong?
Here's the deal. I'm not... First off, the antagonism in this is great. I love it because you're not going to get me...
I'm not trying to antagonize you. I just can't believe you're okay with that kind of language.
There are things that are wrong, but people have a right to say them. It's as simple as that. There are things that are wrong that people have a right to say.
I'm not saying they don't. Mac, hear me out.
Right.
I am not. The argument that I'm making is not that they don't have the right to say it. That's where
Good.
Hold on. Let me finish.
All right.
I am saying it's wrong what they are saying, just like Kyrie Irving and Kanye West. How could you not admit it's wrong?
I don't know what Irving and West
Why can't you admit what Segal Chada said was wrong? Why can't you?
Because I don't believe it. It may be wrong, but I don't believe so. So you can't get me to believe something I don't believe.
I'm shocked that you're okay with that type of discourse.
You can't get me to believe something if I don't believe it. Like I said, something could be wrong, but I'd say they have a right to say it.
I didn't say she didn't have a right.
And you said it was wrong. There are things that you believe that are wrong that I don't believe are wrong.
I've never told somebody I think they should hang from a crane.
I've
never talked like that.
I didn't say you did, but you said
don't
you
compare me to
believe it's
Segal
wrong.
Chada. She's a despicable
You
human
believe it's
being.
wrong. Everything you believe wrong, I might not believe is wrong.
But that's different. That's a political debate, policy conversation. I'm talking about inciting violence and wanting someone to be hanging from a crane.
That's not exciting violence. It's not inciting violence.
I want my opponent to hang from a crane?
Nobody was running out there hanging anybody. No one was running out there going to Ahern and getting his cranes and trying to hang anybody. Nobody was doing anything.
You can't admit that that's
real
wrong.
Simple.
That type of language is wrong.
To me, I have no problem with it. I have absolutely no
All right.
problem
Well,
with it.
I'm shocked.
I'm
quite
gonna stick
frankly,
with the
that
First Amendment
I'm
every
shocked.
day of the week.
I'm shocked to hear you say that. Okay, so we can move on, but I just can't not believe that you're okay with that type of political discourse and that type of language. I can't believe it.
Rights.
It's not about First Amendment. That pertains to the government. Your words have consequences. Why is it Republicans always make that argument? You understand that your First Amendment right and freedom of speech pertains to the government. It's not private business. You know that.
Yeah. Privately, oh man, if I extended things privately,
can I ask you a
say
question?
a lot worse.
All right, can I ask you a
I'd
question?
probably say a lot worse.
If somebody
because privately, if I were to say I'm going to kill someone, we know you're going to get in trouble there.
If somebody in your business, if somebody in one of you're a successful businessman, you own a lot of businesses, you know what's good for your business.
No, I don't own a lot of businesses.
If somebody in one of your businesses, God forbid, started hurling out the N-word,
someone that I work with, okay,
and started saying how much they hate black people, okay. Would you still employ that person?
But that's my profit if I want to. But
there
I'm
you
not
go.
Going to.
Ding, 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 ding. It's private business.
But that's just it.
Freedom of speech.
Again,
freedom of speech.
But here's the deal: if they said that around me, then they don't like me. Why are they even working for me? You get it? So it's.
But
real
that's
simple.
not the argument.
But the argument here is this: look, if that person says it, matter of fact, I'd rather know if somebody hates ends, as you want to call it. I don't even know if we can say it on the radio. But
no, please don't. Please don't.
I would rather know.
You understand
than
my
someone
point.
Not. I understand your point, but I would rather know than not. And if someone did that, around me in any place I was
Okay.
working
We're
with,
gonna-
then I don't want to work around them.
Okay, we're going to have to move on. I can't believe you support that type of language, but now I want to go back to Adam Laxalt again. You're supporting a candidate, regardless of what policies
Why
you
do
might
you?
like.
Why? So let me ask you this: what's great about Catherine Cortez Masto?
Okay, good question. I'll
Thank
gladly answer that question for you.
good.
First of all, she believes in the woman's right to choose.
Okay.
If Adam Laxalt,
Wait,
I know
are
you
we-
think that's funny.
Go on. No,
but
no. Is that all you got?
Has
Because
any
that's what
woman
it
in your-
sounds like?
has
It
any-
sounds like that's all
no,
they've got.
you interrupted
It
me. You didn't let
sounds
me
like that's
finish.
all they
By the
got.
way, have
Okay.
you had any woman in your life that's ever had an abortion?
Me
Yeah.
in my life?
Yeah.
No, I don't. No.
Okay, just for
I
the
don't
record,
feel
I just want to get
like
that out
I
there.
don't-
Okay, so that wasn't my only thing, but that is an important
My
issue.
wife wanted to abort my last daughter.
Okay, understood. That's
she's
a
here with
personal
us.
thing. Okay, I'm glad she is. But I would never take that right away from you. Adam Laxalt.
No, that wouldn't be taking a
Hey,
right.
you asked me
That's
a
not
question.
taking a right. That is not taking a right away. First off, it's codified in Nevada.
So you don't want the
it's
government-
codified in Nevada
Okay.
that you can have an abortion.
It's
but
not in the Constitution.
It's codified in Nevada.
It's not in the
It is
Constitution.
codified in Nevada that you can have an
Okay.
abortion in this
But,
state.
Mac, here's
And
the
we're
point I'm
talking
trying to
about
make.
Nevada.
You asked me
Go
about
on.
Catherine
Okay.
Cortez Masto. If Adam Laxalt had his way, and if most Republicans had their way in this country, abortion would be illegal across the board. That is a fact. That is not an opinion. And Adam Laxalt is on the record as saying that. That's number one.
Go on.
I believe in a woman's right to choose.
So do I.
That's number one. Number two, tax breaks for the rich.
And listen, tax break. Look, I'm going to tell you something. S rolls downhill. Nothing good ever comes up. Here's how this works. It's real simple. Whenever you go down to the voting booth and you tax the heck out of, what do they like to say, the 1%ers, right? And most people don't know that it takes $250,000 for you to be considered in the top 1% income earners in this country. So most people who hear that rhetoric of we're only going to tax the 1%ers, they go down there and they say, well, I'm not a 1%er, and they vote for the tax. Now, here's where it hurts. It actually hurts the lower class. It hurts people that don't make that much money.
Giving
because
tax breaks for the rich hurts the poor people?
No.
What?
No. Taxing 1%ers, as everybody likes to call it.
You're asking
it hurts
me.
poor
That's
people,
another policy
all right?
that I
Now,
agree with. I disagree with
As
you.
for giving tax breaks to the rich, it's not giving tax breaks to the rich. It's giving tax breaks to anybody that can read the code or have
Number
an accountant.
Number three.
Go on.
Okay. If Catherine Cortez loses this election, she's not going to lie and say that she won in a landslide and
You
contest
don't know
it.
that yet,
Okay,
do you?
well, we'll see if that happens.
Okay, good. So let's
Okay,
not.
Adam Laxalt is on the record saying that if he loses, he's going to call fraud and call BS and contest. But if he wins, everything is going to be just fine because he is full of crap. That's number three.
Hey, again,
I'm not done
he
yet.
has the right to say what he wants
I'm
to
not-
say. Go on. What's
Again,
number four?
I never said he doesn't have the right
Gotcha.
to
What's
say.
number four?
I don't know
What's
why
number
you
four?
keep saying
What's
that.
number four?
Number four, okay, I talked about abortion. I talked about tax breaks. Let's talk about health care.
Okay.
Adam Laxalt is another one of those nutty Republicans that wants to take, just like Mike Lee, that wants to take Social Security away. He has alluded to that.
No Republican in this country.
Not
has
true.
ever
Mike
mentioned
Lee,
wanting to take
what are you
Social
talking
Security
about?
away.
Mike Lee is on the
No
record.
one's going to do anything with your Social Security.
Okay, well, I take them for their word when they say they are. And I could name you a dozen
So you got
Republicans right
Adam
now.
Laxalt on the record saying he wants to do away with Social Security.
He wants to drip it down. Those
do
are
you
the
have
words
him
that
on
he
record
used.
saying he wants to do away with Social
When
Security?
he said he wants to drip down, and I forgot the actual term that he used. Yes, I do. Okay, that's number four. Catherine Cortez wants to protect that. Adam Laxalt and many Republicans like you want to complain about Obamacare, yet you have no replacement plan
First off,
for it.
here's the deal. We have Medicare and Medicaid, okay? I love how they have this whole
Not for long if
pre-existing-
Republicans
this
take office.
pre-existing medical thing here. It's great. I get it. People need health care. But here's the thing. If I was driving a car down the street with no insurance, got in an accident, and then the next day decided to get insurance, the insurance company is going to say, I'm sorry, your accident was before you got the insurance. This is why insurance companies pulled out of entire regions and states, because they looked and they saw where the highest instances of certain ailments were, like cancer in the southern states. And when they backed out, they had less choice in health insurance companies, because the health insurance company says, you know what, we're going to cover these pre-existing conditions, and it's going to cost them an absolute grip a lot of money. And they had a private business, and they have a right not to do business in certain regions. And that hurt black people and brown people in the South and everywhere else. And it just does. Yeah. So I don't get it. Regardless of what people think.
I can name you more if you want.
Regardless of what people think, okay, what we have to get away from is it's a Democrat and a Republican thing.
A lot of issues are.
That part we need to get away from.
Let's talk about gun control.
I'll tell you what we need to, wait a minute, and I'll tell you what we really need to get away from. We really need to get away from the media putting their finger through everybody's noses and pulling them one way versus the other, whether the information is
Okay,
accurate
well,
or
I'm
not.
talking policy. I'm going to give you another one, gun control. What is Adam Laxalt's, since you're supporting him, what are some of his solutions that he think will end all the gun carnage and gun violence in this country? Tell me what his solutions are.
When it comes to the Second Amendment and Adam Laxalt, I'm not sure on his total policy.
Okay,
there.
well, I am.
So
I am.
I want you.
I'm
I wanna
shocked
hear
you're
it. I wanna
not,
hear
but
it.
I am.
I want to hear
He
it.
thinks more guns are the answer.
Oh, I have heard that. Okay, I agree with that. No,
okay, well, that's absurd.
Okay, if that's
Catherine,
if that's policy, then all right.
Catherine
that's fine.
Cortez.
I thought you were talking about something he had written.
No,
I do believe that more guns is. Listen,
well, that's absurd.
The Japanese never landed on
That's
our soil
absurd.
because they believed that there'd be.
Why
a
do we have
rifle
so much
behind
gun violence in this country?
Because where is the gun violence though? Tell me where it is.
Everywhere.
Yes, but where's
Everywhere.
the majority of it?
Right in our backyard.
A majority of the gun violence is in the communities that have the strictest gun laws.
That's not entirely true. No, that's
it's not entirely
That
true,
is
but there's
not
some
entirely
truth
true.
to it.
Okay,
I
then
guess.
why do we have the biggest mass shooting in our
Is there
backyard?
some truth to that then?
There are some counties where there are certain, but here's the problem with what you're saying.
Okay.
Red flag laws are not on the books. We don't have an assault weapons ban.
So you agree that somebody could just walk up to your house and take your take your weapons away from you without due process, without a trial, without any of
Okay,
that?
so that you're totally mischaracterizing how I feel about red flag laws.
Okay, I'm wondering because that's what red flag laws do.
You're mischaracterizing it, and that is an extreme case.
Okay.
I believe that it is a
So
case.
what scenario?
I
do
believe.
you believe
I
it
believe.
should
Well, I went down the list first hour.
No, I'm talking.
I'll go down the list with you on gun control. What I think would help an assault weapons ban. When an assault weapons ban was put in place, gun violence went down. When it expired, people expired because Republicans allowed it to expire. Well, you can laugh, but
I'm laughing because look, we're not talking about putting bans on knives and this stuff.
We're
that's
not talking about
happening. We're not
knives.
talking
When
about
was the last mass knife
Look, we're not
murder?
talking about people putting bans on hammers. You know,
That's
with the Speaker of the House.
ridiculous.
But here's the deal: the gun problem.
How could you
that we
compare a
have-
knife to an
I
AR-15?
I compare knives and guns and everything. I'm not comparing it. It's
Yes,
just
you
that-
are.
It's just that for some reason taking away our rights to our Second Amendment and having our guns is not going to
The
solve these
Second Amendment
problems.
was put in place when they had muskets.
Doesn't matter. When
It kind of
It's
does.
there. Nope.
Okay,
kinda doesn't.
so you don't know any policies that Adam Laxalt are going to put in place to help
here's
end the
deal.
gun
Here's
violence
the-
in this
He's
country.
not going to put anything in place
Right,
himself.
right. There's the
He's not
problem.
going to put anything in place himself.
You're right.
Because you need
You're right.
Congress for that.
Yeah.
You need more
He
representatives
has
that can
no-
do it.
he
So
has-
as long as we have more Republicans in there, we actually can get some things done.
Okay, what have Republicans done to pass gun laws in this country? What have they done in the last 30 years? Since you think Republicans do such a wonderful job?
Well, here's the deal.
Yeah, what have they done?
We
Tell
have
me.
the Second Amendment. We didn't think we needed anything else.
So because
We had the Second Amendment.
So why can't?
It wasn't until the last 5 or 6 years
So Mac
that we
Miller-
actually realized that the Constitution might actually be in jeopardy.
So, Mac.
So anything in the Constitution, we believed, well, we're good. It's there.
So you don't think anything should happen when it comes to gun control in this country? Just let people keep shooting people.
Wrong. I believe that people should be trained to use their weapons.
That's not Adam Laxalt's policy.
I believe people should be trained to use their weapons.
Okay, I agree.
I don't. Obviously, we've had this conversation before. I don't think we need to have anybody rolling through with a tank. Okay, but when it comes to your AR-15s,
Yes.
all right, or AR-16s, as Biden like to call them, I don't have a problem with it. Okay, none whatsoever.
So do you believe an 18-year-old should be allowed to buy as many assault weapons as they want to the day they turn 18?
Can an 18-year-old join the army?
You know the difference, sir?
What's
And
the
I
difference?
made this point
Training?
the first time.
Training?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I just said training. So if you're going to buy weapons, be trained.
So you agree that there
So I
should be
agree that
training put in place?
Of course I do.
Okay. Guess what, Mac?
do. I have no
So
problem
guess
with
what,
that.
Mac? Sigel Chatta, Adam Laxalt, and Jim Marchant do not agree with what you were
That's
saying.
fine, but that's what?
You're still supporting
I'm
them.
not going to agree with everything anybody says or disagree with everything
Name me
anybody says.
Republicans